It was a Tuesday afternoon when the incident took place. The sun hung low over the city, casting long shadows through the apartment complex. From the outside, it seemed like any other day, peaceful, quiet, uneventful. But for Sierra Washington, that afternoon would be anything but ordinary. Sierra had grown up in the city, raised by her mother in a modest apartment. They weren't rich by any means, but they were happy. Sierra worked as a marketing assistant, trying to climb her way up in the world, while her mother ran a successful cleaning business. They had a strong bond, built on mutual respect and love, but that bond would soon be tested in the most unexpected way. Sierra had been home alone, cleaning up after lunch when she heard a knock on her door. She wasn't expecting anyone, but when she opened it, she found two police officers standing on her doorstep. One was a tall, broad-shouldered man with a stern look on his face, and the other, a woman with short, dark hair who seemed equally unapproachable. "Ma'am, we need to ask you a few questions, Officer Miller," the man said gruffly. His tone was curt, giving nothing away. Sierra raised an eyebrow. "About what?" "Just a few things about an incident we're investigating. We have a warrant to search your apartment." Sierra hesitated. She'd done nothing wrong, but they were police, and she had no reason to deny them entry. She stepped aside, motioning for them to come in. The officers scanned the apartment, walking slowly through each room, their eyes darting over the small details. They moved methodically, as though they were looking for something specific. Sierra couldn't shake the feeling that they were judging her apartment, her life. Finally, Officer Miller turned to her. "We received a report about a disturbance. We need you to clean up the mess on the floor. Someone spilled something, and it needs to be cleaned up immediately." Sierra was taken aback. "Spilled what?" "Water. It's a safety hazard," Officer Miller said. His tone was almost dismissive. "We don't want anyone getting hurt." Sierra looked at the floor where there was indeed a small puddle of water by the doorway. It had spilled from the cup she had dropped earlier, nothing serious. But the audacity of their request struck her like a slap in the face. She had to clean up their mess, while they stood there, ordering her around as if she were beneath them. "Why don't you clean it up?" Sierra asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She was trying to keep her composure, but there was an edge to her words. Officer Miller's eyes narrowed. "You're the one who made the mess. You'll clean it up, or we'll have to take further action." Sierra took a step back, her anger simmering beneath the surface. But as she knelt down to grab a towel from the counter, she glanced up, and that's when she saw someone else in the room. In the far corner of the living room, standing quietly, was a figure Sierra hadn't noticed before. It was a woman, tall and elegant, with an air of authority that seemed almost supernatural. She had a calm, serene presence that made the officer's harsh demeanor seem almost out of place. The woman stood there, watching the scene unfold, her eyes locked onto Sierra's endeavado. Sierra froze, her heart skipping a beat. Who was this woman? Why was she here? And why hadn't the officers noticed her? The woman stepped forward, her voice soft but commanding. "You're not cleaning anything, Sierra." The officers looked around, confused. They hadn't heard the woman speak, yet it was clear they were aware of her presence now. The woman's voice held power, a quiet force that demanded respect. "Who are you?" Officer Miller asked, his voice losing some of its earlier bravado. The woman smiled, a knowing smile, one that seemed to have seen too much. "I'm here to make sure no one takes advantage of Sierra again." It was then that the officers realized who she was. She wasn't just any woman. She was the one who had been serving the city's elite for years, working in the background, pulling strings, and making sure things stayed in order. Sierra's mother had worked for her in the past, cleaning her mansion and taking care of things others didn't notice. And now, the woman had come to pay Sierra back for the respect her mother had shown her. Sierra stood up, the anger that had been bubbling inside her slowly fading, replaced by a sense of calm. The woman nodded at her, acknowledging her strength. "Leave now," the woman said to the officers. "You don't belong here." For a moment, the officers hesitated, but the woman's presence was enough. They turned on their heels, mumbling apologies as they walked out the door. It was the last time they would ever step foot in Sierra's apartment. Later that evening, Sierra sat on her couch, the adrenaline finally wearing off. She glanced at the spot on the floor where the water had spilled, now completely cleaned up. But the true mess, the one that had been made by those who thought they could control her, was gone. The woman had vanished as quietly as she had appeared, leaving Sierra with a sense of empowerment she hadn't known she needed. Her mother's old connections, the ones she'd never paid much attention to, had come to her aid when she needed them most. And for the first time in a long while, Sierra understood what true power looked like. It wasn't in the hands of the police or those who held authority. It was in knowing who you were, where you came from, and who had your back when the world tried to push you down.